G'day guys, welcome to episode 7 of Lighthouse Wisdom, and today we're going to talk about an interesting concept. It's called playing life from the fourth dimension. I was watching a video recently on a very successful entrepreneur called Mark Bouris. He started Wizard Home Loans and now he owns Yellow Brick Road. And you know, he's a self-made man and he's got a lot of good advice, great speaker. Anyway, something that really caught my interest was he talks about ways of dealing with stress and anxiety, etc. And he talks about playing life from the fourth dimension, meaning that everything that we do in life is playing it at the third dimension. And if we can notice and observe ourselves when we start getting a little bit tense, stressed, etc., and just have an affirmation, hey, I want to step back and I want to take a wider view of this and relax into our consciousness and become really the observer of what's going on, then we can more detach from what's going on. And it's really our attachment to what's happening in this third dimension reality that causes a lot of unrest, turmoil, negative emotions, etc. So a good affirmation is to, when anything's going on, is to remind yourself, I'm going to play this from the fourth dimension. And the way you do that is essentially take a step back. Just remind yourself to take a step back and realize that anything that's going on in your life isn't as bad as you're probably making it up in your mind. Essentially, life is a game, and we don't really own anything here, even though we think we do. And a lot of our attachments comes from desires of wanting more. We don't even really own our own property. And this is what Mark was sort of saying. He's a big property guy, obviously, and something that I'm educating myself a lot on these days and really find it interesting. But he essentially says you don't really even own your property, even though you might have a mortgage out and you've got deposits, etc., or you might even own your own house. Essentially the land and everything, it's not really yours when you look at it. I mean, it's the Queen's land, the government still owns. So essentially, looking at the reality of life, it's just a game, and we're here as students in a big classroom, and don't try to not take it so seriously. And the way we can step back and detach from outcomes and detach from the situation that's causing these negative emotions is to play it from the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension does exist and it's more real than this third dimension. And have faith in that and realize that's where your consciousness sits, So taking a step back, looking at it from a wider view, and remind yourself to play from the fourth dimension enables you to not get so much involved with what's going on, so you don't become a victim of your circumstances. We become more of an overcomer, and we can do that with a mind that's more peaceful than clouded, because the third dimension can really cloud us, and it's like shifting sands all the time. Things change all the time, and you get over one problem, there's another one coming at you, sort of thing. So we do have to have strategies to deal with these things that happen on this third dimension reality, and I'm really practicing what Mark suggested, because it's a really good way of detaching, because it's our attachments that cause suffering. So it's a really good thing to learn, playing life from the fourth dimension, realizing that, let's have more of a humorous perception on life than taking it so seriously. And when we can have a wider view of what's actually going on, we can objectively break down these perceived problems and realize, okay, I can step this out in a way and constructively look at it objectively, rather than being so clouded by it. And the ego loves to, it's the whole fight and flight thing, right? It likes to fight, it likes to flight, so it's part of the reptilian brain, part of our brain. It's biological, it goes back millions of years, and it's that part that we need to realize that it's not something we want to wage war against. We realize we've got this part of our brain and it's something we don't want to buy into either. So we need to have strategies, tools in order to step back and release whatever's going on, stress, anxiety in the third dimension. And the more we can utilize tools like this one, we can really manage life a lot better in the third dimension. And you know, it's kind of what I was saying in a recent episode about having a foot in two camps, you know, having a foot firmly planted in the earth realm, this third dimension, but also realizing that you come from the fourth dimension, which is the spirit. So essentially, you know, you don't want to be all heady, you know, all yah land in the fourth dimension, and you don't want to be all third dimension. What you want to do is have a foot in either camp, and that way you're more balanced and you can look at whatever's going on more objectively. So there you go, episode 7 of Lighthouse Wisdom. Hope you enjoyed that. Remember to play life from the fourth dimension, and whatever practice you use, just realize that fourth dimension of consciousness does exist, and the more we can play it from that fourth dimension, the more we can manage this third dimension more productively and with less stress and anxiety and all those negative emotions. So it really gives us a sense of balance. And whenever we're playing life, we want to come from a heart space, and it really helps to, you know, to this gap between your head and your heart. It really helps to negate that gap, you know, so that we're coming more from a heart space, more open, and most of all, more present. That's episode 7 of Lighthouse Wisdom. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you in episode 8. Bye for now.